You don't give me a second.
There we go. Well, because it's, we have to give people a few minutes to get into the...
Right. Roll on in. Hold on.
Yeah, so it looks like we're good there.
Okay.
And Louie wants something. Hi, Louie. I don't have any more treats right now.
Louie
They're
always wants something.
Far away over there. You ate the bag.
So far away.
I gave you the rest of that bag, buddy.
I still have pants on.
And I'm glad you still have pants on.
Yes. Oh, we're on the air. Oh, I didn't see you there. Wait, what? The camera's on?
Oh, that cliche.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like everybody's done that. Come on, Louie, you want to sit up here? There's a Louie looking up at me with, he think he's got something on his mind.
He is just, this guy.
He probably wants more treats.
He's the most chill cat we have, but the most
needy. Because he'll tell you.
The most human.
Yeah, he acts like a little person. He tells you what he wants. He'll put his paws on you and he gives you this look.
He's a manipulator. He knows exactly. He has a language with us.
He does. He can do his own little language.
And I say we have two other cats and they don't come close to how he communicates with us.
Louie's very expressive. The other cats aren't as expressive.
He has developed. You know how toddlers, they say, when babies develop a language, even though they can't speak.
Yes, that's Louie. Louie's got a language.
And you have to, humans obviously are a little more advanced, obviously, than an animal, like a cat or a dog. But and if you pay attention to a child or a toddler, sort of their emotions or their even though we don't have kids, but I've watched enough stuff on it that it's interesting that they try to create a language with the parent, even though they can't speak,
to tell them what they want
and need.
Yes.
Louie does that.
Louie does that.
He totally has a language with
He does.
us.
He's like a little person sometimes.
Yes, it's very bizarre. The other two cats, and we could tell by comparison because the other two cats we have who don't do anything.
The crypt kitties, yes.
They're pretty dumb.
Well, it's not that they're dumb. It's just,
One is afraid of everything, afraid of his own farts, and then one is such a bully, and he's very just.
He's like a little hunter. He hunts all the bugs and little creatures around here in the Erie Cemetery.
Yeah. Now, has Louie always been this way? Not really. He kind of developed into this, right?
No, he's always been very expressive.
Okay.
He's just, Old Man Louie is a little more needy now.
It was always Old Man Louie.
So.
But yeah, it's interesting. And I know some people out there don't think that cats and dogs have personalities.
They do.
That's totally untrue.
They do. So welcome back, guys. It looks like we've got a good little group here. There's Mr. C, there's Greg, there's Van Ciatras, there's Wiki Bobby, there's Marty, there's Cindy, Ross Fan, Bone Jangler's back, John Biggins, Axel, Jennifer, JB. So,
I like that.
Cool.
There's a lot
nice
of people
little
tonight,
crowd.
right?
David Phillips is here. Bone Jangler says, I have a friend where she and I communicate using the word meow like every other fourth word. And we always know what each other is saying.
There you go.
Like Daniel Striped Tiger from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah.
Exactamundo. You actually sold one of those puppets for a good amount of money recently.
Yeah, it was a vintage Daniel Striped Tiger puppet. It went for, I think, $75. They're harder to find.
They're cool. It's a good one.
He was very cool. I almost kept him. I'm like, he's cool.
But that's reselling. That's a different show. That's our podcast.
Yeah. So let's get into the Hairy Scary Hangover.
That's right. Hey, okay, let's kick it off officially. Welcome everybody, one and all, to the after show of the Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout, which is also known as the Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangover. That's right. Another edition of that. We don't keep track of the numbers of this one, but it's episode whatever.
We lost track with counting these, so now I just date it, so I don't even know what episode number we're on.
Right.
Probably 100 something. I don't think it's as many as the Hairy Scary Hangout.
That's insane. Still.
Yeah.
Especially coming from a time when we would put out maybe 6 episodes a year.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true. So before we started live streaming, we would put out maybe a handful of episodes.
Speaking of language, I hear something. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Louie wants something.
Tell him what he does.
So he will go into the tub and he knows how to move the nozzle with his mouth, and it makes a clicking sound. And he licks underneath the spout, and it goes click, 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 and he knows if I make that noise, they'll come over and get me water. Like, they have water in their bowls, but he likes to drink water out of the tub. He's a very spoiled cat.
It's unbelievable.
Or the faucet, or wherever. Yeah.
It'll be 3 in the morning, and you're click, 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 click.
Yes.
That means come down.
He'll go into the sarcophagus and he'll paw at me, wanting treats at like 4 in the morning.
And Earl just drools on you in the sarcophagus.
Yes, and Earl will drool on me when he wants fed.
Yeah. Anyway.
They have us trained.
Yeah. Well, cats don't have owners; they have help.
Okay, so enough about
Welcome to Cat Talk.
Cat talk.
That's what's fun about this show is that I can't really see that. Can you drive that?
I'm gonna click close.
Yeah, so this show is a whole different vibe, right? I mean, this is the after show. It's supposed to be, we can either talk about stuff that, that went on during the show, which, usually isn't anything that dramatic.
We hosted the movie, The Monster of Piedras Blancas on episode 208 of the Harry Scary Hangout. If you guys missed it, you can always go back and watch the replay. It's no big deal. It's there. It's archived, so that's good.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun,
We showed it once about a year ago.
Yeah, last summer. Yeah. So we thought, it's been a year, let's bring it back. It's kind of a summertime movie.
It is, yeah. And kudos to Janet for finding that and all the other stuff that we usually wind up watching here.
Yeah, I try to research stuff and look up movies and things like that.
It's a tough gig because YouTube is so stringent on it. And that's fine, and we get to, because they're protecting people's, IP and their... stuff that they own, and we totally want that for us too. Yeah. So we understand all that, and the public domain stuff isn't as public domain anymore. So
Mr. C says the No Monster movie.
Right, No Monster.
There are worse movies, and we've showed them. So that one, in comparison, wasn't as bad. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely make fun of the movie. You have to
live life like that, right? You can't, you have to base it on...
It's fun to make fun of the movies.
Right, and that's the whole point. I mean, growing up, basically that's the gist of any of these horror host shows.
Right.
Is to show stuff that, is to replicate that experience in the 70s and 80s where you would, watch a bad monster movie. Mm-hmm. Well, I even say 50s and 60s too, because there's some amazing horror hosts from back then that really had to, go through a lot of the same stuff.
Oh, why the change in venue, says Ron. Oh, good question. Okay, so we mentioned it on the Harry Scary Hangout. Okay. We had to move to another part of the Erie Cemetery that had better air conditioning.
Basically, yeah.
That's really...
It's like 100 degrees here in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, it was like 100 degrees today, and we wanted to have access to better air conditioning.
Where we usually do the show, it's okay, but there's nothing that gets back there that resembles air conditioning, so...
Yeah, the air conditioning isn't so great. Yeah. And we didn't want to run fans and have you guys hear a bunch of fans in the background. So we just thought, okay, we'll move to a different spot.
The only fans we care about are you guys out there.
Yeah. So this is a temporary setup.
Yeah, don't fret. We're going to go back to the set. That's not going anywhere. But there you go.
James says, love the new blue background. So, thank you. It's just a temporary background. It's not permanent.
It's just this episode as far as we know.
Yeah, as far as we know, just for this episode. Or on days where the weather's a little too hot or cold.
Yeah.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about a movie we saw yesterday. Oh, boy. So talk about bad movies.
Was this a Tubi find? Yeah.
Was that Tubi or Prime?
It was Amazon Prime.
So it was on Amazon Prime. If you guys want to look it up, if you have Amazon Prime, you can.
You know how I know? Because I was praying for the Tubi commercials.
Oh.
Like anything to wake me up or break up this monotony. So it was called what? The Falling?
The Falling. And it was from 1986 or 1987.
Never heard of it.
It was a Spanish-American film. So it has, it stars these American teenage tourists. These teenagers
25-year-old, 30-year-old
look like they're between 25 and 30.
And it actually reminds me of the movie we played tonight, the Monster of Piedras Blancas, in that they got me with the thumbnail. And the thumbnail that comes up when you're looking at this film is like this this like blonde girl.
Yes.
Behind in some kind of a van.
Yes.
With this like bloody like creature, like a Todd McFarlane sort of like all teeth kind of creature, all bloody on the windshield. I'm like, ooh, this looks good. It's from the 80s. Ooh, we're gonna have something good here. Good practical effects. 25-year-old teenager is gonna be great. God, it's just like tonight's movie. That thing didn't appear till like the last 2 minutes of the movie. It was all sort of microbes are invading the planet. Oh,
yeah,
no.
so they took forever to explain what was actually going on in the movie. But yeah, this movie is about microbes from the moon. Skylab. Let's set this up. It takes place. It's in the 1980s. These 3 teenagers. It's a girl and two guys. They're supposed to be Americans that are driving around through Europe in their camper. And they're just taking a couple weeks off over the summertime to go driving around and
in Italy, right?
No, in Spain.
Oh, Spain.
And other parts of Europe as well. They were going to drive through Europe and go sightseeing and hang out and go camping. And they land in this small town in Spain. And I guess it's supposed to be like this town is where like NASA was doing some experimental stuff. And there was like a secret like underground laboratory.
It sounds like you're making this all up.
No, but this is the movie. It's just so weird. And these moon microbes, I guess, were infecting people like a parasite, kind of like, the movie Alien where it bursts out of you.
The better movie.
So, yeah, it was like pretty much liquefying people and busting out and, gore everywhere.
I mean, they always alluded to some sort of host that wants to, use a living host to make itself whatever it manifests itself.
Yeah.
Which you, like I said, didn't see until the end, which was this like little thing that was a nothing thing. It was like a little skeleton.
Yeah, it was like this little gelatinous thing with spider legs.
Yeah, it wasn't that scary.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the build up. It was mostly them just driving around in an RV in Spain and talking about what was going on. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was like
the falling asleep, they should have called it.
It was kind of, there are some scenes that are interesting, but it was really dragged out. And then there was, this kind of weird, where the 2 guys were kind of fighting over
who was going to sleep with her?
Who was going to hook up with the girl and who this girl likes. When I think they started out just traveling as friends. I think it was supposed to be all
It was like platonic. It was almost like the Bachelor or something. It's
why
are these guys?
They focused a lot on this wannabe romance thing. When meanwhile, like people are getting eaten by these aliens.
Like, that should be the last thing. I mean, but there's human beings right there, right? All they're worried about is getting laid, even though their lives are in danger.
So
I don't know. Every Friday the 13th the movie ever came out, right?
So The Falling, I think it's an interesting watch, but it's dragged out too long. I think if they cut everything down to maybe 40 minutes and kept everything short,
it could be a 15-minute
it could have been a better movie.
Could have been a half-hour movie.
I wanted to like it.
Like a Twilight Zone episode or something.
Yeah.
It didn't need a 2-hour, hour and a half to go through whatever they went through. It's just very strange. The pacing was weird. I don't know.
And then, there were these scenes where she's, walking through town, the girl went to go walk into town to get to buy groceries or something. And this monster truck thing was chasing her, but then when she looks, it vanishes. They never explained why this truck kept vanishing.
So were there people that were taken over by this stuff, right?
Was it a supernatural thing mixed in with the alien?
No, I think it must. Well, they never explained.
Or was she seeing things? No. They never really explained that. It was
very strange, very disorienting.
It left you with questions. You're well, what's going on here?
The 80s.
The 80s happened.
Cocaine.
Let's read some comments here. Can the Mummy and the Monkey channel consider some public domain Sword and Sandal, Hercules, and sci-fi movies?
Of course, yeah.
Ooh,
we'd love to. We totally want to do that. Detective stuff, like noir movies.
Yeah, we do pepper in some murder mysteries and noir movies from time to time. So yeah, we could do that.
Sword and Sandals are great.
We could look into more of an adventure type of movie.
We watch those on our own. We love those kind of movies.
Yeah, because some of those are cool where they fight monsters and stuff. Yeah.
There's some Hercules movies where the monsters are amazingly great. They're it's like Ultraman monsters, except except not giant. They're people size.
JB says Hercules movies are great. Yeah, if we can play maybe a Hercules or maybe Tarzan or something. I think some of those might be public domain.
It's more movies. It doesn't have to be horror. It doesn't have to be all horror stuff.
Sometimes we could pepper it in with a different movie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You like movies about gladiators? Yeah, gladiators are cool.
No, that's from Airplane.
Oh. Is that?
Remember the pilot?
Oh, he was quoting the movie.
You like gladiator movies, Johnny? Yeah, but it's fun.
There's a ton of killer gorilla public domain movies. Yeah, there are.
Okay, so the problem with some of those.
The problem with some, there are some public domain movies.
Let's say the majority of anything that's public domain, like cartoon or movies from the 30s and 40s.
We have to be careful with some of that stuff because it's very cringy, it's outdated, it's racially insensitive.
That's the better term.
And
even though some
even though like some of those movies can still be enjoyable, there's some scenes where it's just plain like
you have to cut out quite a bit of the
like,
the cast to make it watchable, but
well then it's kind of tough with some movies because I'm like we watch a little bit of it and I'm like,
we're okay, this could be good.
We can't show that.
And then there's a main character that pops up through the rest of the movie that you'd have to surgically cut out because it's not congruent with the way things should be, and and even though they were acceptable at a certain time in this country or in this world, it's cringy, like you said. It just,
like so. An example, like I really like the Charlie Chan movies, but I understand that it's they should have cast. It's kind of it's a tough thing.
Well, we don't have to get that much into it, but I see a difference between that and with what was done to African Americans at the time.
Yeah, that was.
And those roles were always
worse.
The same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And if you're into those, if you see those movies, you know what we're talking about. As opposed to like an actor who, and the reason why the studios why they had. Other actors portray like an Asian, like Charlie Chan, is because they thought they needed a name because they put the money up for the movie and they wanted to get their money back. It's a business move, number one, and they wanted an actor to portray that people would know to come see the movie because they thought if they put. Because they would cast like
the big name actors
Charlie
portraying these characters,
but there'd be that, but his kids would be portrayed by actual Asian actors, but the main guy was
like Key Luke was number one son, and then I think later on he was. They did have an Asian actor play Charlie Chan in one of the later movies.
But even though we know there may have not been any initial sort of actual like hatred going on, it just doesn't. I don't know. It's just something that we just would have.
It's like we get all different people that watch us from all different walks of life, and we just we want to make this all for everybody to enjoy. Yeah. So anyone could look up those movies on their own time.
Sure.
It is part of history, so I think it's definitely important to learn about history.
And it speaks volumes too. Here's another thing too. It speaks volumes to me. I think to anybody that would do the research. When we do find these movies, because we're constantly looking for stuff that's public domain, there's a lot of movies from that same time period you can't touch. Why can't you touch those? The ones that you can't touch don't have those stereotypes. The ones that they don't care about have those stereotypes. They're like, you can have that movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like nobody wants to own
those.
Because
nobody wants to play those.
So here's a 1935 movie or a 1940 movie that I could totally use, but then there's 10 other ones I can't touch. Why not? Because they don't, because they're protectable and they can show them all the time.
Yeah.
The ones that have the stereotypes and the cringy stuff, most film distributors don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Key Luke did enjoy working with Warner Oland on the Charlie Chan movies, but left when Sidney Toler took over. So Gary Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole thing. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not people's imagination. It's not and there's Even nowadays, I like when they have when they just hire the same certain actors. I'm like, there's not any other actors of that ethnicity that are hireable, because it's a business move.
Like they'll reuse who's a famous like if Jennifer Lopez is in 20 different movies, but then there's many other.
There's no other Latina actresses.
There's lots of Latina actresses that I'm sure would love a job.
But it's
acting.
But what people don't
because she's such a big name actress, they would always cast her or Hollywood
it's a business
or others.
move.
Yeah.
It's a business move.
Yeah.
People always want. That's why you'll see. Whoever blows up, they'll just use them all the time.
Oh, Metropolis. Yeah. So we've had a couple people ask about Metropolis.
That's a tough one. What am I going to do with that?
It's a wonderful movie, but it's a silent film.
It's a beautiful movie.
So we were trying to figure out how we should do the sound effects for
I'm intimidated because the Ghoul did a version of that.
Did he? Oh.
It is amazing.
So,
but here's the difference. See,
how could you? Maybe you could make it fun.
That is one movie I'm afraid to touch.
It is a good movie on its own, though.
The Ghoul did such a beautiful job on his late 90s show, and they even showed it on Midnight Movie, the Ghoul's version of it, the Ghoulized version of Metropolis, because they were all kind of on platforms that they could use almost any kind of music. The Ghoul used Beatles music. It's pretty cool.
Mr. C says you can do it, and Bone Jangler says the Ghouls was great.
It's pretty amazing.
And then Jets Mess says, what about Ed Wood movies? We have shown Ed Wood movies before.
Some of those are really protected now, too.
But there's other YouTubers and other companies that are like re-releasing them on Blu-ray and buying them up. And so sometimes it gets difficult because even though
Ed Wood's the hack that people say.
Everyone likes Ed Wood movies.
But he's the hack that everybody loves, and his stuff is almost untouchable now.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't such a hack after all, was he? No.
No, his movies are actually very enjoyable.
They're very good. And and anyone,
So, like, Little Shop of Horrors is a public domain movie, but a lot of companies have, like, re-released it.
Which is funny.
And then if like, you have it on YouTube, then they're going to say, hey, I own that.
Because if you, in the past, like, maybe 40 years ago, if you said Corman or Ed Wood, people were like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh, my God, they were brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, anyone that watched these movies knew that. Little Shop of Horrors, to me, to this day, the original one, not that remake, which is fine. But the old black and white one, the Roger Corman one.
Mark says, what about Night of the Living Dead? We've shown Night of the Living Dead a couple times. Yeah. So we'll bring it back at some point. And that one, I think, is still okay to play.
But I was going to say that the original Roger Corman Little Shop of Horrors 64 movie, I think it was.
Yeah.
An amazing piece of work. I mean, that's one I had to sit through. It was very tough for me to put jokes in there with sound effects because they're already there. Mm-hmm. It's full of jokes, that movie. It's great.
Kevin says, ever see the totally naked Jane swimming scene from the Tarzan and His Mate,
yes,
1934?
I've seen it. We've seen it.
Tastefully done, elegant pre-code movies were pushing the envelope.
You were on a pre-code kick for a while. You were.
Yes.
I found that scene. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, well, and one of our friends was telling us about it also.
It was cold in that river. I remember seeing that scene.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yes. There's a lot of pre-code movies that would do that, though. Or they would say or do things that were considered very risque.
Well, that got
and what's cool about the pre-code, well, I wanted to save this for another
thing. Just kind of taste
a little. The women had stronger roles in the pre-code movies. Like, they ran speakeasies. They were gangsters. They had multiple husbands. They had,
they were the antagonists. Yeah. They were the ones that
They had a guy on the side, and they were out doing all kinds of bad things. And just how I like them. I mean, for that time, that's really wild for like early 1930s to have movies like that.
But do you think people would say that they're painting women into a negative role? See, it's like that.
Well, there's a lot of guys that did that in movies.
Yeah, but it's a guy.
So what's good for the goose?
I think so too.
Yeah, I
think it's more interesting, when it's something that you don't expect, but or have
Well, what I don't like, here's a cliche in the classic horror films. The women are always fainting.
Oh my God!
The women are always, oh my goodness, and they fall and trip in the woods.
Yeah. Please stop that already.
I hate that. I do.
The first 10 times, okay.
Like, come on, you're not going to try to fight off or do something or fainting? Like, I don't know of any woman nowadays that faints.
They don't do that in movies.
Who faints anymore?
They don't have the fainting scenes. Like,
was that like in style back then?
It's like if somebody, they do the hand over the, and they,
oh my!
What is that all about? I mean, people still get like freaked out and will faint or pass out, but they used to do it all the time in the movie. You don't ever see that anymore. You haven't seen this since probably the 50s, right?
Or like, and there's so many movies that have done that, and even though I like these old movies, I will call out, if something's like, oh, come on, that's dumb, But let's read some comments here.
It's an interactive show.
There's a ton of stuff here. On. Okay, wow. I gotta scoot up to see the screen here.
Now you feel my pain.
Yeah. I did a term paper on pre-code movies, says Kevin.
Wow.
The Screaming Skull is an old favorite of mine. That's a great movie.
That's one of those. Okay, so
that's a great low budget.
You have to be in the mood for that one. But
it has a nice eerie feel to it.
My favorite parts of the Screaming Skull are the no, I'm thinking of another movie. Sorry.
Okay.
That reminds me. It was the one we were talking about for the Lighthouse movie, Tormented.
When the issue is raised, people forget that
The Screaming Skull's good.
actors are constantly working, acting as what. Oh, okay. He's just talking about like acting and film and stuff. Okay. British sci-fi hammer movies, says James.
Gosh,
okay.
we should touch those. Yeah.
How about the 1925 Phantom of the Opera? Universal owns that.
Come on, that's one of their. That's right up there. He's like after the Creature, I think.
Yeah, that's owned by Universal. I wish we could.
He's in the top. You know, when they go through the Universal monsters, he's in the top like 5 or 6. You can't mess with Phantom of the Opera. The Lon Chaney one, no way.
Bone Jangler. They faint and get carried off by a gorilla. Yeah.
Always.
Or the monster, locks her in a room or something.
Oh yeah, the gorillas all the time. But that one guy that had the one gorilla suit. He was in Little Rascals, everything. There was that one. Didn't they write a book on that guy, or there was something about that?
Which one?
Our friend Pete was telling us about. There was one dude in Hollywood that owned a gorilla suit that they used in just about every one of those
It was
old
the same
movies.
gorilla suit?
Same guy.
The same guy?
He was like the Rick Baker.
Oh, he was just the gorilla guy, I guess.
He was the dude, yeah, and it was the same dude like in the Little Rascals one when they were hunting stuff. But he pops up in all these old pre-code movies and stuff. It's the same dude. Same gorilla suit.
Ever think of doing Madam Satan, 1930? Ooh.
What's that?
I need to look into that one.
So
it's another pre-code film. I'll
That's
have to
the
look into
beautiful
it.
thing about film is there's so many films. Just when you think you've heard of everything,
Yeah.
the falling falls into your lap. Like, what's this?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, no wonder why I never heard of it. But you have to watch it.
And then, is Robot Monster public domain?
No way. I wish it was.
We wanted to show it, and
Wade Wilson.
We even made plans to try to show it, and I found out it wasn't public domain.
No, it's one of those bad B classics. It's such a good one.
Yeah, someone owns it currently.
It'd be
Welcome
perfect.
to Monster Membership, DC Thornton. Nice. Yeah, well, all of you new channel members are new channel members
Thank
because
you so
we
much.
just started the program today.
That's very sweet.
So thank you guys so much. And thank you, I mean, anyone, even if you're not a channel member, just for taking the time to watch and comment.
Yes, it means everything.
Yeah, that does mean a lot, so we appreciate you. We see you. Let's see. It's scrolling down here.
Yeah. Yep.
What about 1930s westerns? Oh, there are some westerns I was looking at.
This one with the westerns now.
Well, I do like westerns.
Well, speaking of westerns, what are we watching now?
Oh, The Good Lord Bird.
Good Lord Bird.
I guess it was a Showtime show?
It was,
We
yes.
talked a little bit about it last week,
I
so
think-
we watched a few more episodes since then.
Yeah, it's about the abolitionist John Brown. It's based on his story.
It has to do with American history.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's as factual as it can be, except for some of the characters, obviously. But it's got a humorous sort of take on not slavery, but the pre-Civil War thing. But what they do, but Ethan Hawke, who plays John Brown, who I like a lot. I mean, I'm surprised. He's one of those actors that I think, because he was in that the Black Phone movie too that just came out that people were talking about.
Oh yeah, we still need to see that.
I would love to. But
Yeah. Ethan Hawke's a good actor.
He's a great actor. He's in so much cool stuff.
So yeah, we still need to watch it.
But he gets like thrown in that whole like he's like the Wish Kevin Bacon, the Wish.com Kevin Bacon. But he's got his own chops.
He's got his own look. I don't.
He's great in this,
compare him
right?
to Kevin Bacon at all.
He's great in this.
Oh, he's
right?
great in it. Yeah.
But he's also he's kind of like pushed to the side. He's never been like embraced by Hollywood that much. But this actually got him some attention because I think he kind of co-produced or produced this show, Good Lord Bird.
Yeah. I think Showtime had it, and then we got it from our local library, so you can.
It's so good.
Get movies and shows from your library if you
done so
you don't have like all the streaming services.
Yeah, even though you're sitting there watching, you get sick because you're like, I know what they're trying to tell this story with humor, but at the same time, you realize
how messed up
the
it was.
gravity of
how messed
what they're
up
trying to
what was going on and
Yeah.
how people were treated. And,
but
but it was fun to see Frederick Douglass get drunk. There's a scene where he's getting drunk, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's some of the stuff's fictional, but
it's based off of history, but they took some liberty.
But there's a lot of truth. I mean, Frederick Douglass did know John Brown. I mean, they were acquaintances.
They were on friendly terms.
Yeah, so and it makes you want to read about the real things and understand what really went on. parts of it went on with this country, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
to watch.
It's fascinating.
So it goes back to the westerns because that's kind of sort of western.
Not quite western, more on the East Coast. I think a lot of it was more east and south.
You know, I know.
Well, at that same time though, people were traveling west.
But the same thing with the westerns though, is that so when we watched this show, The Good Lord Bird, there was a time in this country where people just like it was sort of not anarchy, but it was like.
The Wild West.
Yeah,
was.
well,
yeah.
So was that. You saw them. They had, you know, if any of that really did happen, or because you would think that these, when they ran into those soldiers from the Confederate Army, that they would just cut them right down, like you're an outlaw, boom. But they didn't. They gave them fair warning. But there's all this like kind of weird stuff where it's like whose gun is bigger, who's got more, you know, stuff in their pants to like go against you. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it really was a whole different world.
Let's look at some of the comments.
So are westerns, though. That's why they're interesting.
Yeah, some of the westerns have some really crazy stories.
Yeah. What was that one with Clint Eastwood that you started watching? It wasn't Josie Wales. It was
no,
High Plains Drifter.
High Plains Drifter. Yeah, I started watching it and I didn't like it because he plays a bad guy
because
in it.
You thought, oh, Clint Eastwood, it's going to be good.
Yeah, when in a lot of the Clint Eastwood movies, he's always like the hero. He's the good guy
that
or whatever.
Movie was he comes into town
and
there's some bad guys there, but he's worse than they are.
He is.
Not in a good way.
He is.
Not in a good way.
And I'm like, it was hard to watch because I'm like,
but that's how
I like him better when he's not a bad guy. But that was just my opinion.
But that's how it works, you know. I mean that. But I like movies that make you think things.
JB says High Plains Drifter was awesome.
It's good.
Naoko's joining us.
Oh.
Naoko says, I have not seen many westerns, only seen a few.
It's a whole different thing. It's so weird how they work. I mean, because there was, I mean, I know dramas are what they are, you know, Hollywood's depiction of things, but it's based in reality. I mean, you could read the actual history on these things too and see how out of control this any country. It's not unlike any history in the world.
Well, let's continue on because there's a lot of movie stuff and comments, and let's move on to something that's a little lighter.
I'm just trying to fill the void.
Can you show the monolith monsters? Says Marty.
That's a pretty bad one too.
I'll have to.
I don't think so. I think
monolith monsters.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
not
a weird
sure
one.
on that one.
No, I think it's owned by a studio. It's not that old. It's
might be.
It's like 60s.
I don't know.
But yeah, you can check it out.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
What is your access to the Western and the new Star Trek? Oh, just the local library. You go and ask the library.
What's the access?
Oh, I guess they were asking like how we were watching those.
Oh, the new Star Trek.
Yeah,
stuff?
you just go to your
They
local.
only have season 1 out now, but season 2 will be in about maybe 4 months.
Yeah. You just go to your library and ask.
Yeah.
They'll hook you up.
Yep. If
and
it's out,
whatever town you're in.
If it's out, they'll get it for you.
Yeah. The original Django. Yeah, some of those Django movies were good.
Spaghetti westerns?
The ones from the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, those
Horror
are
of Party Beach, says Pastor of
I
Muppets.
love that movie, but
Yeah.
I think it's owned. I think it's like a Shout Factory thing. Because Mystery Science, that's one of their most popular episodes.
Yeah, Shout Factory might own it now.
Yeah, the Shout Factory has seen... So what they've done is, like, if Mystery Science Theater, who they, release their stuff through, it seems like almost any movie that they riffed on is owned by Shout Factory.
It makes sense, yeah.
But that's a good movie, though.
It is. It's fun.
That's the monster with the hot dogs in its
Oh,
mouth.
yeah, it's terrible. It's so fun, but it's terrible.
I love that movie.
Now, so speaking of movies, what movies have you guys seen recently? We want to hear from you. So what have you been watching? Because there's a lot of movies out. There's a lot of shows out. There's a lot of stuff to watch.
But how are we going to talk about it if we never saw it?
Well, we want to hear their opinion on it, and we'll read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
And then we could see if maybe it's one we've seen or one we still need to see.
We'll just sit here until we find something that we've seen. Good idea.
All right, fine.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
Okay, I don't know.
So what are they saying?
I just thought it'd be a neat idea. People can chime in and talk about what they've seen too.
I watched, and you didn't watch it with me.
That's all.
I watched finally, because it's on Amazon Prime, A Knock on the Cabin Door, M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, was that one good? What'd you think about it?
Well, my point, his movie that's put him on the map was The Sixth Sense, which I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I figured it out as soon as I watched." That's fine. I didn't. So for me, it was like, and I won't give anything away, but it was like watching Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. So they had that effect on me because when I wasn't catching on that. Have you seen Sixth Sense?
Yes, a long time ago.
Okay? So you know what happens, right?
Yes.
What's the twist?
The boy was dead the whole time.
You're wrong.
Or no, I don't remember. I didn't like it that much.
It was a great movie. It was so good. It was very Twilight-ish, and the way he did it, I thought at the time was perfect, and he got me. You know, if you haven't seen it yet, then spoiler alert. But it's about Bruce Willis, who is like this counselor guy, who looks like he gets shot in the beginning by Marky Mark's brother, Donnie Wahlberg, character he played.
But what does this have to do with the movie that you saw?
Everything, because it's directed by the same guy.
Well, you mentioned this movie, but then you go into this other one.
Yeah,
are they connected somehow?
No, but the same director.
Well, then tell me about this new movie.
Okay, so
you're
because I thought
you go on this one thing, but then you go on this other.
I thought we were talking. I think because you said I was going to explain to you
tell
what
me
the
about
whole.
What you saw the other day.
Well, I'm not going to spoil this one.
What was the name of it again?
It's called Knock on the Cabin Door.
Knock on the Cabin Door.
A Knock on the Cabin Door.
A Knock on the Cabin Door.
It's got Bautista, who plays what?
The wrestler?
Drax, right?
Drax.
Right, in
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
And he's in it. A very interesting looking human being. But his acting is very good.
He is a good actor.
He can actually...
For a wrestler.
He doesn't look uncomfortable.
Some wrestlers don't act very well.
Some people that haven't acted for real. I mean, Mike Tyson, love you, man. I don't want to meet you in a dark alley, but you can't act. I mean, you can't. But I don't think it matters. He's Mike, so who cares? But he has a sort of uncomfortable sort of thing, going on. It's kind of a weird... It's hard to explain.
Okay.
Other than it doesn't seem natural.
Okay.
But Bautista's pretty good at it. But it's good. I don't want to give anything away because it's kind of a newer movie.
Okay, so just, a little bit about the story
but
and
it was
what you thought of it.
Well, these 4 people come to a cabin, and right away you should figure that one out. And there's
Evil Dead?
There's a gay couple who have adopted a daughter.
Okay.
It's a little Asian girl. And these 4 people come to their cabin. They're on vacation. This gay couple and her daughter.
Okay.
And there's a whole thing put to them that they have to make a really bad decision in order for the world to live.
Oh no!
The world to go on. And that's it. That's all I'll say.
So some crazy stuff happens.
Very much.
The world's gonna end, and they have to do something.
Perhaps, or
maybe.
So are these 4 people insane? Or are they telling the truth? And you have to figure that out.
Oh, wow.
That's the gist of the movie.
Okay, so some messed up stuff happens at the cabin.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, kind of like... Because anytime I hear cabin, I think of Evil Dead. Like 4 people hanging out in a cabin in the woods.
But there were cabins before Evil Dead.
I know,
Cabin movies.
I don't know, I just always...
You haven't seen Equinox. See? That's what everybody did.
I know, I still need to
Evil
see that.
Dead gets all the credit, which I love. I love Evil Dead. No, but
well, they were heavily inspired by Equinox. Ooh. And I know about Equinox, I just haven't watched it all the way through. Okay, so there's tons of comments here. Okay.
I'm the Frederick Douglass of horror movies.
So Connie Cleary, she saw John Wick 4, Evil Dead Rising, The Pope's Exorcist, and Insidious. Wow.
Haven't seen any of those yet.
We haven't seen any of them yet. Did you guys like the new Evil Dead movie? What did you think of it?
To me, I've heard people say both things. Some people said you're going to love it. Some people said they hated it. So I don't know.
And Naoko has not seen any John Wick films.
What? No.
I watched the first one with you. It was crazy.
The first one. It's so
I didn't
good.
see the sequels, but I saw the first one.
The other 2 I didn't really super care for, but I'll have to watch 4 to round it out. What I want to see is Sisu. S-I-S-U. That's
you keep talking about that one.
But Nazis,
Jack Gray says Equinox is an all-time favorite of mine.
Oh my god, that movie
And Lois loves Renfield. That's a new movie she saw.
I heard that was good. It was enjoyably fun.
Awesome.
So I'm sure that's probably out. We'll get that library probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they really liked it.
I'll watch anything.
So I'll give it a chance.
If we watch The Falling,
yeah,
I'm gonna watch anything.
The Falling was really I wanted to like it, and it just wasn't.
Like I said, I call
the pacing and everything was bad.
I call it the falling asleep because that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, and I was trying not to fall asleep because I'm like, okay, where is this movie going? Are they going to explain anything?
I woke up and missed nothing. It looked like they did the same scenes over. It was horrible.
It was.
But it was free, but...
Thank you guys for your nice comments. I am doing pretty good. Been getting a lot of rest, says Jennifer. Yeah, we hope you're doing good. Good, okay.
Yeah. Any new movies you want to see?
Iron Sky was very funny, says Scott.
So I think I brought that up before. I need to go back and watch the first Iron Sky. I think I have it on DVD.
Yeah.
But I bought the second one at the dollar store.
Didn't you say you liked it?
I loved it.
Okay, cool.
The pacing on this movie.
I'll have to watch one of those with you.
If we ever make a movie, we have to watch.
The pacing was good on it?
It's amazing.
Okay.
It reminded me of watching a Sci-Fi Channel movie, but without the commercials.
Mr. C says, are the Stooges public domain? Actually, there are
a few.
There's maybe 2 or 3.
Disorder in the Court.
Yes, I know that one's public domain.
But there's a few other ones, but they're not many.
So we might be able to show a Three Stooges at some point.
I would love to.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello. All the, the basic slapstick guys, the ones who did all that stuff.
Yeah.
The pioneers.
Let's see. Also earlier this year, Shin Ultraman.
Really?
So Shin Ultraman.
That's Shin Godzilla.
I guess that came out.
Huh.
Didn't we see...
we started watching Kamen Rider.
There's a Kamen Rider that's available on Amazon Prime. And we started watching it and then...
Go on, say it.
Decided to watch The Falling, which...
Well, I don't know.
I think we should have sat through Ultraman Kamen Rider.
Maybe.
But we'll give it we watched it a little bit and then we thought, let's just watch something that we don't...
Because they didn't have subtitles even. I mean,
yeah.
I wanted to be able to understand the story.
We were having trouble with the subtitles working on Prime.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know...
Of course I can watch something and figure out what's going on, but it's more fun to know... Because subs are better than dubs.
Yeah. Well, pretty much the Kamen Rider is fighting the bad guys, and that's the gist of the story.
That's the whole movie.
That's pretty much the whole movie. But
so if he's killing somebody, they're bad.
It'd also be nice to figure out what's going on.
Somebody took the time to write a script.
What the story is.
Nice, wouldn't that be an homage to the script writer themselves, no matter where they're from? That you could read their words, it's kind of...
Yeah. So it would be cool to see it. So if we have to see if we get the subtitles working on it.
Going back to silent movies.
We tried watching it a little bit without the subs, and you were like,
I just was, at that particular time of the night, I wasn't in the mood just to sit there and watch something that wasn't fun to follow,
John Biggins. Oh, this is a very good question. You guys came out with your top 10 Halloween movies a few years ago. Yeah. Any changes or updates? No. Mostly no. I think our picks.
Remember that we had printed out things?
Yeah, that was a virtual event we did for the library.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Of
course I do.
Right. We didn't do it here, did we?
We did it virtually.
Yes, that's right.
It was a virtual event that they had.
Do we tape that somehow?
I don't believe we did.
Huh.
No.
Wow, that's true. I mean, oh my gosh, that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a good chunk of people that came out, and it was fun. They got to share their favorite movies.
Maybe we could do that for our subscribers.
A top 10?
A special video just for that.
Maybe we could.
Because if nobody's got to see it except for people that run a live stream, we could just redo it.
Because then
update it.
Yeah, maybe we could change out a few.
Good idea. See, this is we need material for the subscribers for our new subscription. For the people who become monster members.
Well, I think that one would be better for everyone and not just for members.
Well, but no.
We'll discuss it later, Grim. Discuss it later in private.
It's just an idea.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching that now, says Ed. Naoko says Kamen Rider is a good one, but may need to know some of the storyline before watching.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So
you mean before
need to get
the movie?
You mean before watching
because
the movie?
We did see it starts right out with a guy he's already transformed, right?
Yes, but then he's having flashbacks of whatever happened to him before.
He's just smashing people's heads. He saved his one girl.
Yeah.
Right? From these other bikers. This guy that has these dreadlock things.
Yeah.
And then he's winds up, we got maybe 15 minutes into the movie and we shut off.
Well, because we couldn't get the subtitles to work.
Right.
And I wanted to hear the original language, but and also
the original language was fine, but
we
wanted the subtitles because when they dub something, there's just stuff lost in translation. I think the subtitles usually have more of an accurate
There's been a lot of movies where we've seen where it's dubbed and it sounds really cheap.
They have to do it because in some languages you could say hello, and then it's in English, but in another language, not just Japanese, it could be hello might be 4 sentences, just saying. And so how do you? That character keeps talking, so they go, "Hello, how are you today? I hope that you are doing good." And that's not what they really say.
They shoehorn other things in there.
Right. They always, it could be they say more, they say less, because of the difference in language, obviously. So there's always a weird thing with dubbing. Whereas with the subtitles, it's a little more accurate, I think. Too.
Yeah, you get to hear the original actors'
Their
emotions
voices, and they're real
voice.
voices. You know, I like to hear that, even if they're speaking another language. I would love to hear their voices. But
Janet has done photo shoot locations. Will Janet ever do a calendar?
hey,
You know, maybe.
you've done worse things.
Oh,
Whatever that means.
we've considered a Mummy and the Monkey calendar, not just a Janet calendar.
I can pose sexy too.
There you go. Grim.
You don't want to see that.
Did you watch my Batman yet?
Who's that, Greg?
I don't know. Which Batman?
Batman.
Batman?
Batman.
Batman.
Who says it?
Greg said that, but I don't know what it's
He
in
gave us a
reference.
DVD.
Oh, no,
You
I
have
did
not
not
watched it,
see
no.
it yet. No.
Maybe this weekend we'll
it
get
took
into
me a minute. I'm like, what?
No, he gave us a bunch of DVDs and stuff.
I would love a Mummy and the Monkey calendar, says Lois.
Think twice on that one. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Pay not to see that, says John Johnson.
I'm gonna do like, what's her name? Tawny Katane in the Whitesnake video. On the hood of a car stuff.
I want a Grimm calendar, says Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Who doesn't? I gotta get all that Nair.
Oh, so gallons of it.
Take a hot tub full of Nair.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Ah.
Well, you know, stranger things, you know.
Crypt Kitty calendar for me, says Jennifer.
We could do that. Would be fun.
See, calendars are tough, and I know people have done them
Why?
before.
My brother's made a bunch of them for us over the years. Of,
Well,
you know.
no, it's because it's like if we had calendars made, it's like if it's past like February, I don't. You know what I mean? If it's later in the year,
but you could design
because
one,
it's so timely.
But all the months always have the same. Here's the thing: you can buy calendars that don't have any year on them, right?
Like a planner where you write it in yourself.
Why can't we do a calendar that's just because unless it's a leap year,
We'll
months don't
have
change.
to look into it.
Boom! See, monkey brain.
There you go, monkey brains.
That's right.
Okay.
See, I'd be thinking.
Sure.
Yeah. I got you.
All right, guys. Well, we'll probably wrap this up soon. Now we're just sort of babbling.
That's okay. That's
But
what
just
the show's
wanted
about.
to chat with you a little while after the show to kind of wind down the evening.
This is the loose moment.
And
right?
yeah, we will be off next week, but we'll come back the week after. So we will see you not the first week of August, but you know, towards the middle of August.
That's right. If you make it out to Gross Fest in Pennsylvania, was it this Friday? This Saturday.
Saturday. Saturday the 5th.
Not tomorrow.
And
Next
then
one.
later in August, we're doing another appearance. So
Yes.
we're gonna try to make it to Horror Hound for a day.
Wow, you had to accept our induction into the Horror Host Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it over there.
The closer we get to that, we'll do more promotion on that. But
Yeah.
it still doesn't seem real. It's kind of weird, but it's a fun weird, you know.
The summer is just creeping by fast.
It is. It's been a crazy
Yeah.
year so far, but fun, and we're very very happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, and Gary says the Northeast Ohio Comic-Con in North Olmsted is Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So that's really cool because we have a friend that's a guest there. So if you guys are going to the Northeast Ohio Comic-Con in North Olmsted, Ohio on Sunday, try to get there early because the parking might be a little wacky. And visit Tom Warzakowski.
Yes.
Go get an autograph from Tom.
He was the original letterist for the X-Men comics in the 80s that were really big with Chris Claremont as the writer, John Byrne and Terry Austin were the artists, and he was the letterer. And I remember reading those comics in the 80s, and I would read, I read anyone that was in the X-Men comics in the 80s, but with the Phoenix Saga and all that. We dog-eared those books. Everybody read every ad, every letter, every printed dot, we saw everything. And I remember looking at the credits, written by Chris Claremont, drawn by, pencils, John Byrne, inks, Terry Austin, lettered by Tom, I couldn't pronounce his last name.
We didn't know how it was pronounced back then.
Now I know how to say his name.
Now we know. So Tom Warzakowski, yes, will be at the Comic-Con on Sunday.
Yes.
And
great guy.
Very cool.
He and his wife Lois are very nice people.
Yeah, Lois Buhalis is also a comic book letterer.
They're both lettering artists. Come on, it's almost like reminds me of us.
They are comic book pros. They are awesome. Yeah.
that have found themselves, and they have the similar calling, the similar things they're in common, and they've been a couple for many, many years.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you guys again. If you missed part of the show, you can always catch the replay. If you missed episode 208 of the Harry Scary Hangout, it's on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. If you like chatting with us, you can always give the video a thumbs up. And have a good night, guys. Good night, good fright. Mwah!
See you later, alligators.
See ya. Thank you.